Welcome everyone! In this video, we are going to be diving into my top 5 best teams for the Love Cup. The Love Cup is always a very fun meta, very unique and broad meta, as it only allows red or pink Pokemon, and it does take place at the Great League format, which is a max CP limit of 1,500 or less. So I do always have fun in the Love Cup. There are some new additions to the meta that we will have a look at, and yeah, it's going to be alongside the Open Ultra League. So for those of you who don't necessarily care for Open Ultra League, this is an excellent option, as it will be alongside the Ultra League, and it is set to drop at the time of recording this video tomorrow, when leagues typically reset. So like I said, I always have a lot of fun in this meta, and I don't anticipate anything will be any different this go around. So without further ado, let's have a look at team number 1. All right, here we go. Team number 1, a powerful and strong team for the Love Cup. It leads with Ariados on the lead, Lickitung on the safe swap, and Alomomola in the back to bring it home for you. This is a very solid and flexible team. Ariados on the lead, quite strong, as a lot of people lead with those Metachams, which Ariados can handle quite well. And Ariados has strong neutral play all across the board. You just really have to keep it away from those Charizards that will be unleashed, undoubtedly, on the Love Cup meta. Again, which is why we have these two Pokemon in the back to protect it from the Charizards. Let's have a look at the scorecard here, and look at that. Holy smokes. This is an amazing scorecard for team number 1. We get an A for coverage, A for bulk, B for safety, and an A for consistency. That is about as good as it gets, my friends. And let's have a look at these matchups here. So like I said, Ariados on the lead will either be winning lead most often than not, or having very strong neutral play across the board. Ariados has, I would say, about average bulk. It's not as glassy as you would think, and it is quite spammy. You have the ability to debuff your opponent with lunge, or hit pretty hard and have a chance to get that sweet boost from Cross Poison, which does raise your attack by 2 stages. So Ariados, quite solid, quite lethal on the lead. But as I mentioned, you really have to keep it away from the potential Charizards that may be unleashed upon the Love Cup meta. But the good news is that Charizard is quite squishy at the Great League format. It's already on the squishier side in the Ultra League. That is just compounded if you bring it down to the Great League format. So in that case, you are swapping out just as fast as you can if you are met with it on the lead. In the Lickitung. Lickitung, as you see here, does have a slight loss, or a marginal loss, but that is in the 1 shield, so do keep that in mind. Lickitung can perform quite well if they choose to stay in the 2 shield, which is the scenario that you will be met with if they decide to stay in. If they don't, they will likely meet you with a Medi, and you can play that out, play out the zeros, come back in with Ariados, take out the Metacham, which should set Alomomola to have a good endgame. What else? I would say Ariados, you'll want to get out of there on any Confusion user, or any rock type on the lead that would have a rock type move. That could be Magcargo with Rock Throw, could be Crustle with Smackdown. Although you do thoroughly outpace a Crustle, and you could hang in there a little bit to get off a lunge and then make a play into Lickitung. But you, of course, are not going to want to stay in there for too long. Talonflame, same as Charizard. You're getting the heck out of there just as fast as you can. And, of course, Metacham, you will want to stay in and take out the Medi on the lead. So very powerful team for team number 1. Definitely one that you guys will see featured on the channel, as my Lickitung has not had any play this season in Season 13. So it will be quite nice to finally get to run my Lickitung in this meta. So that is team number 1. Ariados on the lead, Lickitung on the safe swap, and Alomomola in the back to bring it home for you. So with all that said, that is team number 1. Let's have a look at team number 2. All right, guys, here we go. Team number 2. Another very powerful team, and it features Lickitung on the lead, Medicham on the safe swap, and Charizard in the back to close the game strong. Now, this team, very strong, just as team number 1 is. Lickitung on the lead wins a lot, guys. I'm just going to say that. Quite bulky, provides tremendous bulk to this team. That's definitely something you will want with a Pokemon like Charizard in the back. The idea of this team is to save your shields for Charizard to absolutely lay waste to your opponent's team. Let's have a look at the scorecard here. And not bad at all, guys. Very strong, very solid for team number 2. We get an A for coverage, B for bulk, A for safety, and a B for consistency. Not bad at all. Let's have a look at these matchups. So Lickitung, very flexible, very versatile on the lead, even at a type disadvantage. Let's say up against a Medicham, it still puts in work against Medicham. It is jaw-droppingly close, considering it has a major type disadvantage, but that is just the power of Lickitung in this meta. But if you are met with a Medicham, which it is very likely that you will be, you can hang in there a little bit, maybe chip it down with a body slam or two, and then look to make a play into your own Medicham. And that way you will bring your own Medicham in with a health advantage against the opposing Lickitung. You'd preferably want them to get somewhat energy dry, maybe tank a Psychic before you swap out, but definitely want to allow Medicham to have a health advantage coming in. That way, you likely won't have to shield, because the idea, again, is to save those 2 shields for Charizard. Medicham and Licky have enough bulk to where they could both perform beautifully without shields. So that's how I would play a Medi lead. Scrafty, that's one you just got to get the heck out of there. That's Lickitung's worst matchup in the meta. So yeah, you will go into your own Medicham and force the swap. Try and either flip switch or grab a shield advantage. That's the goal. Slowbro, yeah, everything else in between is pretty straightforward. Yeah, Lickitung is quite powerful on the lead. That bulk with the versatility just cannot be denied. So very powerful team, very strong team. Another one that you will absolutely see featured on the channel. And it leads with Lickitung on the lead. And again, guys, one more thing with this team is the power and flexibility of this team is so high that you could really lead with either one of these. Really depends on what you see a lot of at your own elo. For example, you could swap Charizard up to the lead and safe swap Lickitung. You could play it that way as well. So you can lead with any. You can run this team in any order. Lickitung is just very strong and neutral on the lead. It's probably the most user-friendly variation, I would say. But again, this team's so powerful, you could literally lead with anyone, run it in any order, and still do just very, very well. So yeah, that is team number 2. Lickitung on the lead, Medicham on the safe swap, and Charizard in the back to close the game strong. So that is team number 2. With all that said, let's have a look at team number 3. And here we go, team number 3, another very exciting team that I am personally very interested in trying, and one that you will definitely see featured on the channel. It leads with Galarian Slowbro on the lead, Medicham on the safe swap, and Scrafty in the back to close the game for you. So this is a classic ABB style team. I am a massive fan of double fighters in this meta, guys. And the two only fighters that are allowed, being Medicham and Scrafty, are very, very powerful. You just really have to protect them from, first and foremost, the Charmers, Fairies, and the Poison types, I would say, to a lesser degree. And that is exactly what Slowbro, Galarian form on the lead can do for you. So let's have a look at this scorecard here. And not bad at all. Very solid, especially considering that this is a classic ABB style team. This is a home run scorecard for an ABB team on PvPoke. You get an A for coverage. You get a B for bulk, B for safety, and a B for consistency. That is very stellar. given that this is a classic ABB line. Let's have a look at these matchups here. So those of you who are unfamiliar with how to run an ABB team, it is quite simple, yet wildly effective. The goal with the team, you want to draw out the hard counter with your safe swap so that your closer can have a clear path to victory. That's the goal with an ABB style team. So on all neutral and of course the losing leads, you are immediately swapping in the Medicham to draw out that hard counter. Then you can come back in with your Slowbro, take it out, setting up Scrafty, preferably with a shield advantage, to sweep. Yeah, with that said, it's very simple. If you're met with a neutral or losing lead, the only neutral lead that you're going to want to stay in there on is Charizard. Charizard or Talonflame. Those are the only two neutral leads that you were staying in on. Anything else that is neutral or, of course, losing, you're swapping out on. You're staying in on the poison types like Ariados and any other poison type that may be that you may be met with on the lead. Losing leads, like rock-type leads like Magcargo, Crustle, you're going to be swapping into Medicham to draw out that potential Charmer or Poison type. And then you come back in with your Slowbro, clear that obstacle for Scrafty to sweep. That's how the team is designed. Slowbro, very strong in this meta. All three of these Pokemon, very, very strong in the meta. That is team number 3, a very powerful ABB line that you will absolutely see featured on this channel. It leads with Galarian Slowbro on the lead, Medi on the safe swap, and Scrafty in the back to sweep. So that is team number 3. With all that said, let's have a look at team number 4. All right, here we go. Team number 4, another very fun and solid team for the Love Cup. We've got Crustle on the lead, Alomomola on the safe swap, and Lurantis in the back to close the game strong. So I wanted to give you guys a solid Charizard answer on the lead with this team because Lurantis in the back is here to close the game out for you. Lurantis, very powerful in this meta. You just really have to protect it from Charizard and Talonflame to a lesser extent. I do believe Charizard will be largely replacing the Talonflame teams. Crustle, you also want to protect Crustle from Alomomola or any other water type, which is what Lurantis does quite well. And Alomomola will be serving as the safe swap with this team. Very, very powerful, strong neutral play across the board. And another Charizard answer, added layer of Charizard coverage for Lurantis to close. So let's have a look at this scorecard here. And not bad. Very solid scorecard overall. You get an A for coverage, B for bulk. You do get a C for safety, and a B for consistency. That is quite solid for team number 4. Let's have a look at these matchups here. So the team is a bit soft to Medicham. It's going to take a team effort. That's not one that you will want to stay in there on. You're going to immediately safe swap into Alomomola and look to play on from there. Lurantis up a shield can do quite well up against most things in this meta, so the idea is to preserve those shields for Lurantis. You may need to have a shield for Crustle based on what team you're reading. But Medicham is not one that you will stay in on. Neither is Scrafty. Scrafty, you are not staying in there on Scrafty either. Those are the two hard swaps that you are going to hard swap out on. But those fire types that you will undoubtedly see will be quite juicy, quite satisfying, because Crustle does quite well against the fire types in this meta. The 3 most common ones that you will see will be Charizard, of course. You will definitely see Magcargo to counter all of the Charizards, and to a lesser extent, you will also see Talonflame. So you want to this team is meant to pick up those leads. And if things go awry, you somehow lose your Crustle, you've got Alomomola as an added layer of coverage, as Lurantis does not like the fire types whatsoever. Lurantis also doesn't like poison types, which is also nice to meet on the lead. Like Ariados, Galarian Slowbro. There are some other poison types, but those are going to be the 2 most common. And with the rock typing, you resist that fire, that fast move pressure, And especially if it's an Ariados, it's even better. But Slowbro, not necessarily known for its bulk, and those smackdowns with stab really do add up. So the poison types are nice on the lead as well, which is why Crustle and Lurantis has such good synergy, and Alomomola really provides some nice added bulk as well on the safe swap. Drudagon on the lead. There is that notorious Drudagon team that was running rampant last go around with this cup. That team takes some tactical maneuvering. That is a very difficult team to overcome, although Crustle can do quite well up against Drudagon on the lead. It's just those dragon tails with stab really do add up, and Drudagon can be quite spammy considering it's running a 3-turn fast move. So it takes a bit of tactical maneuvering, a little bit of a team effort. That's going to likely be your Achilles heel with this team, as the Drudagon leads generally compared with 2 poison types in the back. So yeah, that team will be a bit rough, not impossible, but really rough to handle nonetheless. And Go Battle League, there are just going to be some teams that you're just not going to be able to beat. That's just how it is. But you will do quite well up against everything else in between with team number 4. Very powerful team here, very solid. Your lead and your closer have excellent synergy, that being Crustle and Lurantis. It's almost near perfect coverage, I would say, which is why it made it onto the list, guys. And it leads with Crustle on the lead, Alomomola on the safe swap, and Lurantis in the back to close the game strong. So that is team number 4. And with all that said, let's have a look at team number 5. And last but certainly not least, we've got team number 5, and it leads with Medicham on the lead, Electrode on the safe swap, and Crustle in the back to close the game strong. So the idea with this team, protect Medicham from the fire flying types, being Charizard and of course Talonflame. If you can protect Medicham from those two, you're going to be doing quite well, and that's exactly what we have with this team here. So let's have a look at the scorecard here for team number 5, and not bad at all, pretty solid. A for coverage, C for bulk, B for safety, and a B for consistency. So let's have a look at these matchups here. Medicham, probably pound for pound the best Pokemon in the entire Love Cup meta. So it's so strong, so powerful. So with this team, on Medicham leads in the mirror, that's one that you'll kind of have to stay in there on. That's the safest play, although you could land the Psychic, play out that 0, land the Psychic, and then make an aggressive play into your Electrode and see where you go from there. But I think the safest play may be to just take out the Medi with your own, or go for the Simul KO. That's pretty safe, as the 2 back Pokemon can do quite well without Medi. Charizard, Talonflame, you're getting the heck out of there. Poison types I wanted to go over, like Ariados, Galarian, Slowbro, and any other poison types. That's one that you'll want to stay in there on a little bit, much like with a Medicham mirror matchup. You'll want to threaten with the Psychic before making a play into your Electrode. You're not going to shield Medicham. Electrode is the dedicated safe swap. So you're going to threaten with the Psychic, either grab a shield or really do some heavy damage before making a play into Electrode. That's how I would play the poison type leads. Charmers, you kind of want to get the heck out of there on, although you could play it the same way you would the Poisons and Medicham Mirror, and that is threaten with a Psychic and then make the play into your Electrode. Although you are taking big super effective damage in the process, but it might be worth grabbing a shield or health before swapping out, as Medicham bulky enough to hang in there long enough to get off a Psychic. Everything else in between, Medicham's going to be winning lead on. Medicham wins a lot in this meta, which is why it is, in my humble opinion, the best Pokemon in the entire meta. So pretty straightforward there. We're protecting Medi from those strong flyers. Very strong, solid team as well. And it leads with Metacham on the lead, Electrode on the safe swap, and Crustle in the back to bring it home for you. And that about wraps it up for my top 5 best teams for the Love Cup. Like I said, Love Cup, always a fun time for me. And it will be running alongside the Open Ultra League. So again, for those of you who don't necessarily care for the Open Ultra League, Love Cup is an excellent second option to have some fun in. But guys, I had a blast. I hope you all enjoyed. As always, I thank you for watching and keep up the grind. Thank you guys.